I think one overarching principle that I became a fan of, like, you don't create newer expenses to end up achieving credit card goals.
Does your wife know about all of these cards that you have?
When I went for the most premium Amex card, which is platinum charge, I think, yeah. In a very light dinner conversation, the way I kind of probably sold it and pitched it to my wife was that maybe, you know what, if you are in a London or a New York and you want a dinner table at a Michelin star, and let's say there is a 6 month queue for that, then the concierge that is offered by platinum charge will come to our rescue.
Love affair that started 2 years ago. Was there a wingman who got you, who helped you with it?
Like any Indian wedding, there I think that is the one phase or moment in your life where uh, a lump sum of expenses happen in a very short span of time.
Right.
It struck me that as it is expenses hona hai, so why not just plan it better and plow all those expenses or aggregate them under one or two good cards. I think that was the phase where this tipping point or this whole affair with credit cards began. My motivation or what lured me to this space was getting very cool hotel memberships. I saw that as a part of my lifestyle. I'm already kind of
Staying at hotels.
availing these
Yeah.
services, staying at hotels and all of it. So by just bringing this smartly into my life, it elevates your experiences and indulgences in a very big way.
In this episode, we have Dhaval with us. This is the first time that I'm meeting him, and we've decided to sit and talk about credit cards, a common passion for both of us. Welcome, Dhaval, and thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Hello, hi, good to meet you as well.
What brings you here? Why did you agree to be on this podcast?
You have to do something for friends and some things for friends, and when a dear friend calls you, you have to turn up no matter what hour of the day or hour of the night. But I think on a more serious note, I think just having an informal interaction, and I got to know this is about credit cards, and this is a space which over the last year or two I have been following it quite closely. So I'm not someone I would not call myself a geek where I've been in this for the last 10-15 years. But funnily, in the last 24 months, I've just found this space very exciting. So would love to just have a nice Friday interaction with you folks.
Oh, awesome. And I've heard just in the last 2 years, you've done quite a bit with cards. You've gotten a lot of new cards, closed some. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, interesting. I don't know where to start, but I think one overarching principle that I became a fan of. I came across it somewhere on social or somewhere on the web, where you don't create newer expenses to end up achieving credit card goals. I mean,
Okay.
the way you look at it is you just look at what your basic BAU kind of expenses are from whatever you're fond of. It could be travel, shopping, whatever that space is. You first look back at what your lifestyle expenses look like, and accordingly you kind of take the next step. I've seen a lot of people who look at it the other way around, and it shouldn't be a target or a goal that you're trying to achieve. It should just be something where you're trying to optimize better, and it is something that as it is a part of your life. But through more awareness and education about this, you're just swapping or just shifting expenses here and there.
Cool, awesome. So, how many cards do you have currently?
Currently, I think if I look at the number of active cards, and the definition of active is the ones which I carry with me in my wallet, there would be, let's say, three of them, because
Okay.
3 or 4 of them at max, because they are those overarching cards which take care of most common things.
Okay.
And if I use the word passive cards, which is the cards that you're not carrying with yourself, there would be some 7-8 of them. They are maybe lying at home in my study or in my drawer.
Okay.
And I take them out only when there is a certain expenditure coming out from that space, and I feel that that sector or that space, and I feel that okay, a particular card is the right one for it. So
Understood.
in total, maybe the answer is somewhere around 8 to 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And just in 2 years.
Yes, but I'm planning to cut this down to like, let's say, at max having 4 to 5.
Okay.
Because of late, the way this space is developing, a few cards will end up overarching the other cards, and the others will be a subset of what the bigger cards offer.
Right. Right. And you recently got married, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
a year back. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does your wife know about all of these cards that you have?
I had to hide this from them on a fun note, but it has taken a bit of education, and I think when I kind of started educating on a genuine fun note, I think your family just kind of comes to terms with it. But otherwise, they are making a lot of fun. I was actually like people made a lot of fun of me when they used to see the thickness of my wallet. So
wow.
after that, I started to kind of have a separate kind of a wallet for keeping those cards at home.
Okay.
But yeah, in the initial days, there will be a lot of leg pulling that your friends and family will do. But when they realize that how you are being very very street smart and mathematically you are looking at this, then I think they will kind of fall in line with it.
I think one way to get them on board, one
Yeah.
easy way, and which sort of automatically happens is, I think you start saying yes more often to their shopping request because you're getting more reward points.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think that is something I've seen, and even now that when I went for the most premium Amex card, which is platinum charge, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a very
There's a Centurion one as well, but that's in
yeah
light
in
only.
India. I think
Yeah.
that's the one that's considered the most premium.
Yeah.
So I was on the edge about deciding that, but in a very light dinner conversation, the way I kind of probably sold it and pitched it to my wife was that maybe you know what, if you are in a London or a New York and you want a dinner table at a Michelin star, and let's say there is a 6-month queue for that, then the concierge that is offered by Platinum Charge will come to our rescue.
Okay.
And
Oh wow! And she bought that.
I had to. I mean, that was a very very fun, light-hearted note.
No, I mean, and that's a good point.
I haven't experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
but very anecdotally, I kind of just spoke about this because I remember very recently when we had gone to Singapore and we were looking for a good dinner place for 31st.
Yeah.
A lot of good places were booked out.
Okay.
And I think I probably used that as a reference point that, okay, you know what, the next time on 31st night you want to go out for a nice dinner and all the good Michelin stars are booked out, this could come to our rescue. So
Oh wow!
yeah.
Nice. So you both are foodies.
Kind of, we like exploring and going out for dining.
Oh, nice. I was in Istanbul a couple of months back. I went to that was the first time I visited a Michelin star restaurant. I mean, it was an amazing experience, to be honest. Though I didn't really want to spend the kind of money that you need to at Michelin star, I found one which was very cheap, to be honest. I think a meal for the two of us cost somewhere around 10,000 bucks in Indian rupees.
Okay.
So yeah, awesome experience, to be honest. Do try that.
Yeah.
So, do you also share your cards with the friends and family to accumulate more rewards?
No, I think it's the other way around. Once your close family and relatives, they get to know that you're the go-to person for the most exciting cards.
Yeah.
It is they who end up reaching out to you. That okay, they are making a let's say booking for a small trip or something.
Right.
And then you're the man who they remember that okay.
Yeah.
he's the
When they
person
see
who
there's a
will-
discount on a particular card.
Yeah, so you end up being
Yeah.
contacted for that.
Okay.
On the contrary, I think with time you will also know those 2-3 folks in your friend circle or in your family who will be equally passionate about making the most of this space.
Right.
So if you are in one of those rare occasions, if you don't have any particular card, then you would be keeping them on your speed dial so that you reach out to them.
Awesome. So, you've yourself, in the last 2 years, I would say progressed quite a bit in this credit card journey because it takes a long time for most people, to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
to reach where you have reached in 2 years.
Yeah.
Have you also been able to convince some of your friends or maybe family members to get into credit cards or start using? Have you been able to do that?
Interestingly, I haven't. That's a good question. I haven't been able to convince a lot of my family or friends to move to this. Maybe one very small behavioral change that I have encouraged in my first family is that that if there is a big ticket expense coming up,
Yeah.
then I would tell them that just kind of use some of my cards because net in the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's in your first family where the savings are happening.
Right.
So in terms of big ticket expenses, I just tell them to be a little mindful and check with me. So
That's where it starts.
yeah.
And once you start sharing some of your benefits with
Yeah.
them, I think they'll be all on board.
Absolutely.
Because for the longest time, my dad never used a credit card, and I would say he was averse to them. But now he's seen me travel business class internationally. I've made him travel business class internationally.
Yeah.
Now he every time I like whenever credit cards come up, he's like कि मुझे भी दिला दे यार, मुझे भी एक अच्छा कार्ड दिला दे. So that happens. Any friend who calls you only when they need a credit card?
Surprisingly, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, you will have friends of your cousins.
Okay.
So if your first family knows that you are the go-to person, it'll automatically kind of the information will be socialized a lot more. It'll spread a little more. So friends of your cousins or friends of your family members, they would end up reaching out to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so this love affair that started 2 years ago, was there a wingman who got you, who helped you with it?
Good question. I think it was talking about the wedding that you asked me. Like any Indian wedding, there I think that is one phase or moment in your life where a lump sum of expenses happen in a very short span of time.
Right.
So I think it was that phase where I came across an interesting article on the web, and I think I follow this space a lot on Twitter as well. So that is the phase when I kind of it struck me that as it is expenses hona hai, so why not just plan it better and plow all those expenses or aggregate them under 1 or 2 good cards.
Okay.
Because when the ticket size is to the tune of X or Y lakhs, and when you look at the savings you'll have,
Right.
as it is, it's going to happen. Instead of that happening over multiple mediums, it could be cash, online, UPI, cards.
Right.
You are just a little mindful. So I think that was the phase where this tipping point or this whole affair with credit cards began. Where in those 5 or 7 months, I did a rough calculation that as it is expenses hona hai.
Right.
So I told my parents, my first family, that if you're going out wedding shopping, and these are all high ticket size expenses, so just make sure it's happening in one of these 2 or 3 cards.
Okay.
So and then when I saw the rewards, benefits, and everything kind of come into play, it was a very logical decision. I mean, why not?
To put it simply, मोटा खर्चा होना था.
Absolutely.
And you thought, why do it via bank accounts or
Yeah,
cash, UPI?
yeah.
Why not put it on credit cards?
Yeah, I just aggregated all of them into the 2 or 3 best credit cards. So that was a thought.
Okay,
And
so-
I haven't actually, and typically India में ऐसा भी थोड़ा सा mindset है that credit cards are bad. That's a perception. So you should only use your own money. खुद
Right.
का ही पैसा use करो. That's a bit of a
I
cultural thing.
actually believe the opposite.
Yeah.
For any kind of purchase, I think you should never use your own money. Someone is giving you money without any interest for 50 days.
Yeah.
Why should you not use that?
Right, absolutely. And if you just kind of multiply it and the figures or the expenditure values become in double-digit lakhs, the time value of money for those 50 days, अगर आप interest value वो back calculation करते हो,
Yeah.
that itself is big savings.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
I doubt the broader community or the masses are aware of this. So you're getting free money for 50 days actually.
And that's the idea,
Yeah.
to bring this to the broader community, right? What we are
Yeah.
discussing, hopefully a lot more people understand that credit cards don't mean that your spends will increase.
Yeah.
If you're only a little disciplined, keeping your spends the same, you can generate a lot of returns
Yeah.
in the form of rewards,
Yeah.
right? So what I have seen is for the younger generation who are in their maybe early or mid 20s, a bigger motivator to get into credit cards is travel, a huge motivator, right? So I've seen a lot of people actually who've seen me travel, and then that has pushed them into credit cards because they also want to travel for free domestically,
Yeah.
internationally, and
Yeah.
but yeah, what you just said is an amazing point, honestly, that for people in this age range, 30 above, who are getting married or who are about to make a big about to make huge spends, that's another motivator for some people to get into credit cards, right? Because that's a big chunk that you can save over
Yeah.
there. So what kind of spends did you do with credit card when during your wedding? What kind of spends did you put on the cards?
They were mainly, I think, most of it would be your typical apparel shopping that
Okay.
a typical Indian family would
Right.
kind of look at.
Right.
So a majority of it was around apparel.
Any
shopping.
jewelry shopping as well?
Not majorly. A bit of it was there.
Okay.
But if I recall, as much as my memory kind of recalls, it was mainly towards apparel and a bit of jewelry. Yeah.
what kind of rewards do you prefer, or where do you use your credit card rewards the most?
Interesting. So I think my motivation or what lured me to this space was one getting very cool hotel memberships.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So that is something that lured me, where I saw that as a part of my lifestyle, I'm already kind of
Staying at hotels.
availing these
Yeah.
services,
Yeah.
staying at hotels and all of it. So by just bringing this smartly into my life, it elevates your experiences and indulgences in a very big way.
Normally, it is very tough to upgrade those memberships from the base tier to the next
Exactly,
tier. You need to
exactly.
spend 25 nights,
Yeah.
50 nights at a hotel chain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But with a card, you're saying you get that without doing any of that.
Yeah, and if you do your math right, even if you're paying an extra amount to get avail these indulgences or benefits or perks or however you want to put it as, that extra amount that you're paying, it will kind of nullify the additional memberships or
Right.
the better tier memberships that you're getting in these hotels.
बट यार एक चीज है, बट ये तो जो होटल मेंबरशिप है, दैट्स अ आई वुड से सॉर्ट ऑफ एन इंटेंजिबल बेनिफिट,
Yeah.
क्योंकि आपको यू आर नॉट गेटिंग any tangible thing, right, which you can put a value on.
Yeah.
Right, there are people who try to
Yeah.
but you strictly can't put a value on that.
Yeah.
What are some tangible things that other than these memberships that you're interested in, that makes credit card exciting for you?
I think tangibles. I haven't thought of it in that direction. The way I look at it is that if you're spending X lakhs
Yeah.
in a certain time period, the thumb rule is that you should be able to get back 5 to 7% on it.
Okay,
Now, whether that's 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, whatever that number is.
agreed.
So if you just land this thought to someone who is not aware of this, okay, if you are spending 5 lakhs a year, you should be getting 6 to 7% on that 5 lakhs spends that you're making.
True.
And if you're not getting it, I mean, it's
Exactly.
a different
So
thing. Yeah.
how I put it is that you get a return on your investments.
Yeah.
You invest money in fixed deposit, you invest money in stocks, mutual funds, and you get some return on your investments.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you do your spending in the right manner, there's a way to get return on your spending as well.
Absolutely. I think that you summed it up brilliantly well.
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it.
Yeah. So you said you're interested in premium hotel memberships. I'm sure you would have stayed at some premium hotels as well. What have been some amazing experiences with your credit cards where you've stayed at great hotels?
I think something that was a really fun experience was, I think, Marina Bay Sands.
Okay.
It is the
Singapore.
best properties. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the experience there was real fun. But that was, I think, pre-pandemic. That was way back.
Okay.
So when it comes to my hotel experiences, that stands out. And very recently also, I think when we were planning a trip, we ended up thanks to the amazing membership programs that we have. I realized that we were trying to book a good property between 29 December to 2nd Jan. Now that is like peak period when
Busiest
it comes to
period, yes.
New Year's celebrations and all of that,
Yes.
right? And
This was 23.
this was recently,
Okay.
yeah, 23, and all thanks to the smart spends or the discipline that you have and the right memberships. I realized that I had accumulated a decent number of points, but because of these memberships and points combined, I was able to book a good 4 or 5 nights stay in a good Marriott property in Singapore, which otherwise it was, I think, on independent portals, it was costing me somewhere to the tune of a good 1.3, 1.4 lakhs.
Oh, wow.
But thanks to the
And you paid
discipline
that
and the
entirely with
efforts,
points?
Partially with points,
Okay.
and partially in cash.
And what was the split? Like how many points and
It
how
was
much cash?
somewhere to the ratio of 70-30, you can say.
So 70% with points
yeah,
and 30% with
yeah.
cash. Oh,
But all
wow.
of that happened because of multiple moving parts coming together.
Okay.
Yeah, you having the right memberships, you being disciplined about it, you choosing the right cards. So plowing all of it wisely, it compounded into something. It wasn't planned, honestly.
Okay.
But just kind of ensuring that it's being done smartly, and when the need arises, I was able to do this. And I think the prices for 1 or 2 days were actually touching to the tune of a 50K a night or a 60K
wow.
a night. But thanks to this membership being there, 4 or 5 night combined got us a very sweet deal.
Before this conversation, have you flaunted about this stay in Singapore to your friends and family members as well?
I think it
Or
does.
do you want to keep it a secret and not tell them that you've paid with points and let them think that you paid 1.5 lakh?
No, absolutely not. I think we shouldn't have any qualms in hiding something. And I just in friendly conversations, social conversations, I just end up educating my family and friends that if you're going out as it is to good properties, then just bloody sign up for a program and make the most of it. I mean, it's stupid of you to not do it. So no
Right.
qualms in hiding it. Very
Yeah,
bit
I mean,
about it. Yeah.
it does not make any sense to leave something on the table, right?
Absolutely.
It does not make any sense
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
So we've talked a lot about benefits and good things about credit cards,
Yeah,
exciting
yeah.
things, but credit cards, there definitely are to everything. There two sides, right? Um, uh, have you had any negative experiences related to credit cards as well?
Negative, I think it's a very India problem,
Okay.
but small friction is what I would like to call it.
Okay.
For example, in an ideal world, I would like to use Amex everywhere.
Okay.
But India, you do have issues with not every merchant accepting.
Acceptability, yes, yes,
So
yes.
just at an ecosystem level, it's an observation that as a consumer,
Yeah.
because it is not accepted, I have to also carry a
different
Axis
card.
Vistara.
Yeah.
So that is just from a consumer angle, one observation that I've had. And negative in the early days, I think when you have too many cards, keeping a track of the dates, I think the due dates for the outstanding payments.
But I think now there are apps to do that.
Now there are apps to do that, and I think now I think I've built this habit of setting an auto debit from my banking apps.
Okay.
So that is something that helps me. Where
Oh,
on
so
my
you don't use these creds and checks to make the bill payments?
Breads, I have a mixed view, slightly controversial, but I think of late the value that the app offers, I think that is something for me at a personal level. I don't think I find credit very fascinating.
Okay.
But check is something which I did recently from a pure consumer delight angle. The fact that you can pay for 5 or 6 credit cards in those 10 seconds. So if there's 20k, 40k, 70k, 80k
Right.
outstanding in 4 of them, then all 4 of them I can just clear off in one go.
Right.
So that saves a lot of hassle, and it's delightful from a consumer angle. So check is something that I have been using of late.
Okay.
And otherwise, I get a lot of peace by just putting that setting feature on the banking app. So in case you are traveling or you end up missing it, it
Right.
just deducts the outstanding.
Yeah. Sorry, I took you off course, but you were talking about negative points, right?
Yeah, negative points in the for early few weeks or months, you do end up missing the due dates, and it did take me by shock when I saw the insane
charges.
and all of that on that.
Yeah.
But I just took it as a learning experience. If I actually deduct that charges with the benefits that I've had, it's peanuts, or it's just a second decimal rounding error for me. But
Right.
it was a bit of a shock in the early days. Okay, this is a little unexpected
Okay.
when I looked at it. But you just learn with time, and maybe food for thought for all of you folks who are influential in the credit card space, that why have differential dates? I mean, if the user is willing to have a fixed kind of date, that this is the date when you would expect all his dues to be cleared, it just maybe the first of every month, or the 30th, or whatever that date could be.
Yeah, I mean,
psychologically,
so-
it's pretty cool to see that happening.
Okay, so you're saying if a user is able to select one date for all of his credit cards,
Actually,
that would be amazing.
yeah, that would be-
very interesting
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Honestly, I think at least no user would be against it.
Correct. Yeah.
But okay. So a counterpoint to this.
Yeah.
So having different due dates, it also gives you an advantage. I'll tell you.
Right.
I'll tell you how. Maybe not
Yeah.
specifically for you, but to a lot of folks. So there are people who use credit cards for the 50-day free credit period as well.
Yeah.
Right. And if I have multiple credit cards, and if my due dates are skewed,
Yeah.
so then every time of the month I can plan my spends like this, where I'm getting the maximum credit free period. For example, if on one card my due date is 15th, so I know that I need to spend on that card from the 1st of the month till the 5th of the month, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then for the next card on which my due date is 25th, I need to spend on it. So
Yeah. No,
it
I
does
think
have
it's a
its benefits.
brilliant benefit for a lot of entrepreneurs or businessmen in our
Who
country.
need cash,
Absolutely.
cash flows, yeah.
As salaried working professionals, this element is a little underrated.
Right.
But for a entrepreneur or a small and medium enterprise owner, this is brilliant, I think.
Yeah. Cash
and
flow, free cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The interest rate that you end up saving because of that, and the work, it frees up your working capital as well.
Exactly.
And I read about very cool startups coming up in this space where they plan to get a lot of SME owners to literally make any and every payment.
Yes.
through a credit card, so that it frees up their working capital. When I read about it, it was a brilliant thought. I mean, let's see what scale it gets.
So, Dhaval, it's been a while since we've been talking, but for our audience, why don't you tell what you do?
So I've been working in the digital marketing space, in the digital ad space for Google.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been a good fun ride for over the last 10 years in 3 different cities, multiple teams. So yeah, that's the space I'm in.
Nice.
By the way, I mean, I was also intrigued and a little curious to know that you are planning something exciting in the space, and that's the reason I'm here. You tell me. I mean, what is the, if you see people around, if you look at the credit card penetration in our country and this whole ecosystem, what is your point of view on the credit card scheme of things right now, and what are you trying to solve for? What's your moonshot? What's your big bet?
Interesting. So, okay, let me put it this way. I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm sure you'd understand the details, but for everyone else, so I look at it this way: there are easily about 15 to 20 crore Indians who are eligible for credit cards, but currently about 3.5 to 4 crore unique Indians have credit cards.
That's really low.
Yeah, exactly.
My goodness.
But over the next 10-15 years, this number is going to rise.
Yeah.
So what with Multiply, the goal is to help people make more out of life,
Yeah.
get more out of life without the need to spend anything extra. And credit card is an amazing tool to do that. Right? Just like you said,
Yeah.
whatever you're spending, you can get up to 7% return, something like that, right? So credit card is an amazing tool to do that. That is what I want to tell these 20 crore people and help them get their first and their second and their third credit card. But there are certain challenges. One is that a lot of people think that getting credit cards means spending a lot more money. That if they get a credit card, they would end up spending way more than they usually do. Right? I don't believe that's entirely true. What do you think about it?
I think tricky one. I think as long as people are disciplined and they know that this isn't a game they are playing, or this isn't a target they have to meet.
Right.
As long as people have that EQ, things should be fine.
Right.
But the other nuances around how it is looked at in our country, yes, there is a certain stereotypical way where it has a negative perception, where people look at it in a way that it's gonna make them spend more,
Right.
which in my experience is not at all true.
Right.
And it should be looked at as something ki these expenses are a part of my lifestyle.
Right.
If done judiciously, and if the right guidance is given in selecting the right one which suits that person's age, lifestyle, preferences, then it's a very, very normal and chill thing to look at.
Yeah, I also think that this spends increasing, and people becoming shopaholics or spending a lot more.
Yeah.
That happens with a very tiny percentage, right?
Yeah.
Because most people are disciplined enough to know how much they're earning and how much they need to spend.
Yeah.
So this thing is blown out of proportion. That's how I would put it. But along with that, there's another challenge, and this one is that even if you've convinced people that your spends won't increase, the next bit is true actually, that people think it is complicated, the entire journey of deciding what credit card to get and which is the right credit card for them, and how to spend money on it, and how many reward points I'll get, what is the value of those reward points, and etc. etc. How do I calculate that? Plus India having roughly 500 or so different credit card variants doesn't really help, right? Although I think maybe 10% of those are really worth keeping. There are about 40-50 cards in the country that anyone should have. So that's the second challenge. What are your thoughts on this one?
No, I think it's a massive gap right now,
Okay.
and all of us in the room are fortunate to kind of be able to figure out which is the one that's going to make their life simpler,
Right.
or rather elevate their experiences.
Right.
But big gap where a good chunk of aspirational Indians or folks in the upper middle class, upper income groups, if that's how I want to put it,
Right.
they need an easier mechanism where things are just a little simpler for them, that
Right.
okay, this is what will suit their lifestyle.
Right.
And I'm hoping with the way things are going in the digital space in our country,
Right.
someone, and ideally I hope it's your brand who would come and solve
Thank
for
you
it.
so much.
But it's a massive space, and personally I also, if I look at the early few months, I did face this issue, and I had to do a lot of self education and self reading.
Right.
Now, not many people will have that mental bandwidth or stamina to do that amount of reading about this.
Right.
To finally conclude, and like you mentioned, that 90% of it is crap.
Yeah.
And it is those 5 or 10% stars in that pack who are gonna make your life easier.
Right.
But that comes after a lot of reading. But if there's something that can simplify things, you input A, B, C, D, E. It tells you that these are the 2 or 3 recommendations.
Right.
There is room for it.
Right. A big reason to do this podcast is, I think stories are also inspiring.
Yeah.
Right. When people, like you very rightly said, not everyone is into reading. Not everyone would go to a blog
Yeah.
and read all the articles about credit cards and stuff. But stories are very inspiring. When people hear what other people have achieved, that, and if they're on the edge themselves, that maybe pushes them, right? So I think this podcast can be a good way to get stories out to people, different kinds of stories of different kinds of people who have different cards, different spending amounts. So that's that too. Thank you so much, Dhaval, for sharing all of this. Before I let you go, I would also love to know what are, so since it's been just 2 years since you started using credit cards, what are your future aspirations in the next 2-3 years?
Yeah.
What you dream of achieving with your credit cards,
Yeah.
and maybe a dream card that you have that you want to upgrade to or get?
Oh, you folks in this industry are really making it like a big goal that I have to achieve. Never thought of it like this in this way.
Okay.
That I, again, and that's the beauty
No, okay.
about this.
So let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
I understand, and right point. It should not really be a goal that way.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, so you're accumulating points, right?
Yeah.
And you spend on hotels.
Yeah.
So maybe a hotel that you have in mind where you want to visit.
Yeah.
And something like that, or maybe like you spend time at the Singapore hotel.
Yeah.
So something like that. Not essentially a goal.
Yeah. No, I think that I get the context, but I'm a big sports buff.
Okay.
So I mean, hoping that somewhere down the line the exclusive Amex kind of anecdotes that we keep hearing of, right?
Okay.
You would read about it,
Yeah.
about some Wimbledon championship,
Yes,
or
yes.
some Australian Open thing,
Yes.
Formula One we spoke about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm a big sports buff, and forming memories by attending key sports events
Right.
is something that gives me a kick,
Okay.
right? So I don't know. I mean, if we are trying to manifest something, then what is coming up in the next few years? We
Paris
have
Olympics this year.
yeah, that is one. But unfortunately, because of some personal family thing, I may not be able to go there. But December, Jan, we have India going to Australia, right, for
Yes.
the Down Under tournament.
Yes.
So maybe, I mean, I'll try and club something around getting something experiential over there. Or
Nice.
the next World Cup is coming up in Africa, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, exclusive sports events is something that gives me a kick. And getting that as a part of my credit card journey, memberships, and again I'll reiterate, doing it smartly and judiciously is the way out.
Yeah.
All of this is just a byproduct of the smart, judicious use of the spends that we are making.
And I think
Yeah.
that is the amazing thing about credit cards.
Yeah.
If you go about it smartly
Yeah.
and judiciously,
Yeah.
you all these things, let's not call them goals, but
Yeah.
there's some dreams that you have
Right.
that you would spend money on maybe,
Yeah.
but with right usage of cards,
Yeah.
you can achieve those same dreams
Yep.
for a lot less money.
Absolutely. plus
right?
plus 100 to the thought.
Yeah.
Bang on. Yeah.
Cool. Just one thing. Any dream card that you have, maybe?
Dream card, dream card hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
I think platinum charge was something that was positioned as a dream card in our
Okay.
country,
Okay.
and that's because people just associated the amount that you're paying for the year.
Yeah.
They associated a premiumness with it. But a dream card would be something that gives me exclusive access to anything and everything
Okay.
that's happening.
Maybe a Centurion then, American Express Centurion card.
Is it? I mean, I haven't.
It's an invite only card.
It's an invite only.
Yeah, and you get it only if you have a net worth in certain $1 million and stuff.
So let's see. I mean, hoping that your vision, your startup, your product is able to come up with a very niche, unique card offering for our country. That would be my dream card. The card that your brand comes up with.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so
I'm
much.
looking forward to that. Then give me exclusive sign up to that. Exclusive access. The first 100 people who are going to be onboarded.
Yeah.
I should be amongst the 100 people.
Definitely. I mean, that should be at least one of the things, perks of being appearing on this podcast.
Yes.
Great, Dhaval. Thank you so much for taking out the time. Lovely speaking with you.
Same.
Man.
Yeah, I love the conversation as well.